Bloomberg Intelligence predicts that by 2024, the metaverse market will be worth over $800 million. Now, with such a high growth in a new industry, a new part of the market, there is inevitably some money to be made. And so in this video, I want to share with you two ways, regardless of your risk tolerance, for how you can invest and profit from this rise in the metaverse. The term metaverse has probably been on your timeline more so in the past 1 or 2 months than it ever has previously. And that's down to the growth with companies like Facebook very publicly saying how they're changing their strategy to go into and focus on the metaverse. But also, we can't overlook the social change and the technological change that has happened over the past couple of years that has allowed for this growth to happen. From a technology standpoint, we've seen incredible growth in cloud computing and graphics, software and hardware over the past couple of years, which has allowed this idea of digital worlds to be more feasible now than maybe it ever was before. And from a social standpoint, the pandemic forced people into behaviors and ways of living that they just hadn't ever experienced before, and it's allowed a lot of people to contemplate on the things that they enjoy and the things that they don't enjoy. And this idea of living and thriving in a digital world is something that a lot of people have latched onto. If you're watching this video and you don't really know what the metaverse is yet, I made a very helpful video, I might say myself, a couple of weeks ago that will be linked up here somewhere, which explains what the metaverse is and how it might impact you in 7 minutes. It's a super simple video, so if you want to get a grasp of what the metaverse is, I'd recommend going and watching that video before you come back here and figure out how you can make some money from it. So let's talk about the two ways that you can actually make money from the metaverse. The first is to invest in the infrastructure that will support all of these different metaverse ecosystems that are created. Now, this is the least risky option, and we'll talk a bit about why it's the least risky a little later on in the video. And the second is investing in the actual metaverse ecosystems themselves and their content. Now, this is a more risky strategy, which we'll talk about why later on in the video, but those are broadly the two ways that you can get invested and financially involved in the rise in the metaverse. Let's start off first talking about infrastructure. Similar to the dot-com bubble in the early 2000s and the rise of social media in the late 2000s, it's very difficult to know which one of these metaverse ecosystems will succeed in the long term. We've seen more recently metaverse ecosystems like Decentraland and Sandbox gain a lot of popularity, but popularity isn't the determinant of long-term success. And so at this moment in time, given how new this market is, very few people know which metaverse ecosystems are going to be the ones that actually succeed in the long term. However, regardless of whichever metaverse ecosystem or set of metaverse ecosystems succeeds, they'll all be broadly built on the same infrastructure, and that is around cloud computing and high-end graphics. And these organizations are set to profit and therefore increase in their market cap and their popularity and all of those things because of this growth in the metaverse. And so there's companies like Apple, like AMD, like Nvidia are set to continue to grow as this popularity in the metaverse increases, because they are the ones that provide the physical infrastructure that will underpin whichever metaverse or set of metaverses is successful in the future. Roundhill Investments launched a metaverse ETF, an ETF focused on these types of companies that are going to be an integral part of growing the metaverse. I'll leave a link down below to their webpage so you can check out a bit more about the ETF and a bit more about the holdings that the ETF is investing into. But broadly, it's in the major technological players. It's your Apples, your AMDs, your Nvidias, your PayPals, your Robloxes, all of these big tech companies that we've become so synonymous with throughout the dot-com bubble and through the social media bubble that many think will continue to thrive with this growth of the metaverse. Now, this is obviously the least risky way to involve yourself financially in the metaverse, because even if the metaverse ultimately doesn't become as successful as a concept as many people today think it will, the companies that are involved in this inevitably will still prosper in another way. I believe in the people and the minds at those organizations, and if the metaverse isn't the way forward, there'll be something else that there'll be people in that organization on top of. And so regardless of whether the metaverse is an ultimate success or not, you will still probably make some decent returns from investing in a metaverse type ETF. And so that's why I think it's a good choice for those people who want to get a little bit of exposure to that metaverse market, but without going full in and expecting huge returns. The second is to directly invest in the metaverse ecosystems themselves. Previously in the video, I talked about Decentraland and Sandbox as two of the most popular metaverse ecosystems today, but add Roblox to that, and you've probably got three of the most talked about and actively used metaverse ecosystems that are currently live today. And one way to get involved in that is through the crypto market. So today, if you go on CoinMarketCap or anything like that, you will see crypto tokens available for Decentraland, for Sandbox, for things like Axie Infinity. And so one way you can expose yourself to this rise in the metaverse is just by buying and holding the crypto in Decentraland, in Sandbox and whatever. Now those crypto tokens can be used in game to participate in the economy of that metaverse ecosystem, buying things like skins, in-game land, whatever it might be. But there's also a large group of people just buying these crypto tokens and holding on to them. Inevitably, as more eyeballs get on these metaverse ecosystems and the general popularity of them increases, you will find that the price of these cryptos go up. And so you will have made some money just by holding on to this without actually having actively used it in the metaverse ecosystem itself. However, if your risk tolerance is higher, you can actually use that in-game currency to go and participate and be part of that economy. For example, in Decentraland, you can go and buy in-game land. In Axie Infinity, you can go and buy characters to help you get better at the game. And so whatever it might be, you can actually go in and participate in that economy using the crypto holdings that you bought in Axie Infinity, Decentraland, or whatever. And obviously this is a more risky way because sometimes these assets may become worthless in the future, but others may become like gold mines and they become really rare and wanted by a lot of people. And that's why this is the most risky way, I think, of getting involved in the metaverse. Now, obviously here though, there are the chances of those greater returns, those 100,000x returns, you're not really gonna find by investing in a metaverse ETF. You're gonna get it by investing into an Axie Infinity character, one that becomes really popular, or a group of characters that becomes really popular. And so this is the most risky way of getting involved. So if that's your risk tolerance and you're willing to put some money in there, I think actually investing directly into the economies of these metaverse ecosystems is a great way to do it. This idea of the metaverse is growing in popularity, whether it's down to Mark Zuckerberg posting pictures about what they're doing over at Meta, or the fact that there are 42 million daily active users on Roblox. It's showing no signs of going away or stopping. And so now's the time to get involved and start to think about placing a percentage of your investments into metaverse related assets. And the great thing is, regardless of your risk tolerance, there's something for you. So now is the perfect time to get involved. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're still trying to struggle with what the metaverse is, I will leave another link to my video up here explaining what the metaverse is. And hopefully this video gave you a couple of tips about how you can get financially involved in the metaverse. But thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.